Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new Soviet Tier 10 Premium Heavy Tank, the Obj 452k, or the Thunder Chief, as it is part of the Metalfest for Motorhead. If you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Thunder Chief. What's it like? Well, as a heavy tank, it's pretty nice. It's got a 560 alpha gun, which is really tasty when it hits. The DPM is okay. The turret armor is phenomenal. If you get this thing hull down, it is very, very good. If you get caught out in the open, the hull armor is sort of troll, is the way I'd put it, where you will get quite a few bounces off of this, but on the whole, it just tends to get shredded a little bit against a lot of the Tier 10 tanks, and especially if the Tier 10 tanks are firing premium. If you are hull down and they're firing premium, you'll have no problem as long as they don't hit this cupola on top, because the turret armor is that good. But this big, fat mid-plate here is so easy for the premium Tier 10s to hit, or for Tier 10 Premium, sorry, to hit and pen, that you get absolutely shredded. Add to that, your fuel tanks seem to be in this front section as well. You get set on fire really easily in this vehicle, which can be a bit of a pain. It is exceptionally expensive, naturally, as it is part of the Metalfest stuff, and it's a Tier 10 Premium as well, because it is about 25,000 gold, I want to say? 25,000 gold, which is stupidly expensive. But currently, there is the Metalfest earn-up going off, and for the Community Challenge, if you pick the Motorhead way, you will get 50% off of this tank, and naturally that will knock it down to about 13,000, 12 to 13,000 gold, which isn't too bad for, well, it's actually pretty good for a Tier 10 Premium tank if we're totally honest, and it's a pretty solid tank to play. It's got a few drawbacks, it's got a few good things, it's fairly balanced if we're totally honest, and 50% off is not too bad in the end. So if you do feel like you want this tank, same as if you feel like you might want the T55A8 GM, sorry, the Era 3 Premium, wait for Metalfest 6 part, the Community Challenge to end, and then you will get your 50% discount on either of the two tanks. That is just what you need to do. You need to wait so you can get the best bang for your buck, okay? And that way you will make the most money out of it. So yeah, that's the little disclaimer there. Wait for the Community Challenge to end so you get your 50% off on this vehicle. It is very expensive if you don't do that. As a tank, it's pretty nice. Like I say, I've found it quite okay to play. It's very akin to a Chi-Lin, a WZ111QL, because it's got that 560 alpha. The mobility is not quite as good, but the armor is on a par with it. It's very, very similar to that tank in that way. So let's have a look at the statistics of the Obj 452k, the Thunder Chief. Well, as you can see, you've got a 40 km/h top speed with a 17 km/h reverse speed. Now, that's pretty decent for a heavy tank, and a 17 km/h reverse speed is actually not too bad either. 880 horsepower engine with 16 horsepower per ton ratio means you do get somewhere close to that 40 kilometers an hour top speed, but I've tended to find you stick between 35 to 38 kilometers an hour if you don't help these ground resistances out. So yeah, bear in mind that it doesn't quite hit 40 kilometers an hour top speed. You've got a 15% internal fire chance, which is in the middle of the fire chances, but to be honest, this thing tends to get set on fire quite a lot through the front. It's something that you will have to put up with in this vehicle. You've got 2,400 hit points, which is a good slab of hit points for a Tier 10 heavy tank, that's fine. 30 degrees a second hull rotation speed, can feel a little bit slow at times. You might want to help that out with clutch braking if you feel like it's a little bit too slow, it's down to you. 2.5 on soft, 1.7 on medium, and 1.3 on firm. The soft terrain resistance especially can hold you back with your top speed. That's why I run off-road driving, just to knock these down and to help you with getting up to this top speed here. Because the top speed at 40 isn't too bad, so if you can help yourself get up to it, that's pretty good for the vehicle. You've got 390 metres of view range, which is okay. It's not the best for a Tier 10 heavy tank, because a lot of them are pushing 400, but still you can get your view range up to a pretty damn good level with the 452k. You've got 25 degrees a second turret rotation speed, which is slow, so you might want to help this out with rapid aim, which is what I do, because the turret traverse does feel a little bit slow if you don't do that. You've got 0.76 accuracy during rotation on this 130mm gun, and 2.74 accuracy during movement. Now, the accuracy during movement isn't that good, but the accuracy during rotation is pretty good. So you don't really have to help the accuracy during rotation out too much, but the accuracy during movement you might want to help out with run and gun and the gun stabilizer, and that will keep your aim circle bloom down if you get these stats down as low as possible. You've got 20 degrees of elevation, which is sound. You've got 7 degrees of gun depression, which is fairly average. Means you will be decent on a ridgeline. You won't be exceptional on a ridgeline, but you will be decent enough, and you'll be able to use the fantastic turret armor that this vehicle has. You got 14.5 second reload, which is 2.3k DPM, which, you know, is not the best, but for this 560 alpha, I'll take that. It's pretty okay. You can get the reload down to a decent level with that. 0.38 accuracy is also not too bad for a 130mm like this with 560 alpha, and you'll take it. Sometimes it does feel a bit wonky and will miss shots that feel like it should be easy, but on the whole, it's not too bad. You've got a 2.5 second aim time as well, which is why I say you want to knock this accuracy during movement and rotation down as low as possible, so that the gun bloom doesn't bloom out that much, and then you don't feel the pain of this 2.5 second aim time. You've got AP, Heat, and HE with 260 pen on the standard AP, which is fantastic. 320 pen on the heat rounds, which is good, and you'll go through most things you'll face. You still might struggle with some tanks like the Type 5 heavies and stuff like that some of the others that have 330, 340 might not struggle with, but on the whole, you'll still go through them with relative ease if you hit the right spots. You've got 65 pen on the HE as well, which is 560 alpha on the standard and 700 alpha on the HE. 1,000 meters a second shell velocity is fairly average. Again, it's not bad, but it's not good. You really do have to make sure you're leading your targets with this gun, and you've got 950 meters a second shell velocity on the Heat and the HE. So bear in mind that they're a little bit slower than the standard AP. They're not much difference really. And then in terms of bonuses, it is a tier 10 premium tank, so you basically get no bonuses. So that's something to bear in mind if you just basically pick this thing up if you feel like you like the looks of it. So let's have a quick look at the modules of the 452k. As you can see, that's where the engine block is. If you get penned in the back, trust me, your engine tends to get knocked out and you tend to get set on fire. If you get penned in this mid plate on the left or right hand side of this mid plate, you can see right here where they are. It will set you on fire. I'm not kidding, this thing gets set on fire quite a lot in my experience, and it's usually when you get penned in this mid plate here, which is very easy for premium rounds of tier 10, and yeah, you start to burn, or especially if you get shot through the drive wheel here, like that, and it hits this engine block, or you get shot through the drive wheel there. As you can see, you basically get tracked. There's a likelihood that if it's a fairly high module damage caliber gun, you're going to get set on fire, and that is pain. And there is the ammo racks, which is something I've not really experienced. I'm looking at where that ammo rack is. I've not experienced getting damaged on my ammo rack yet, but the ammo racks are quite big and chunky modules in this vehicle, and as you can see, they're right through that mid plate and right in the center of the tank at the back end of the turret and in the back of the end of the turret, so you've got to be careful of that too. If people are shooting at you, that's possibly where you want to try and aim. And in terms of the armor, it is exactly the same as the PC version with its armor. So we can use Tanks GG, so I can show you the effectiveness of the armor of it, which is always great for a heavy tank. So as you can see, on flat, we've got 360mm effective armor. And then if we were to use the full gun depression on this vehicle, the armor on the turret is just absolutely phenomenal. Same as the upper plate, it is an auto ricochet angle. But you're seeing a glaring issue here, and that is that mid plate. Now, that mid plate on flat is 250 effective. If it starts to angle like this, you start to make this cheek worse, which is pure pain generally, and that really hurts you when you're side scraping as well, by the way. It makes this tank not be able to side scrape. Then, yeah, if you're shooting at this thing, you don't want to be shooting at that, because that's about 270 effective anyway. I mean, they could just load heat and probably still go through it. As you can see, the heat rounds will go straight through it anyway. 320 pen goes straight through that mid plate, which is pure pain for it. But yeah, if it starts to angle like that and give you that lower plate like that, just shoot the cheeks here and you will go right through, which it means, yeah, this tank can't really side scrape that well. It's pretty annoying in that regard, because especially if they're firing premium, there's still a likelihood that it can go through it. But yeah, you got to be very, very careful. This is the pain. I kind of wish that this mid plate on the 452k was better effectively and was maybe like 250 impacted armor instead, and that meant it would be over 300 probably effectiveness, which would make it more resistant to premium rounds, especially some of the lower pen premium rounds at tier 10. But yeah, for the most part, a lot of the premium spam will just go straight through this front end of the 452k. So the disclaimer is, don't get stuck into a head-on brawl with a lot of the tier 10s, because they will butcher this, and like I say, you'll probably get set on fire too. If you see this thing and it's kind of hull down, but it's on flat, so it's just behind a rubble pile and it's just showing this turret here, shoot for the cupola here, because it is very, very thinly armoured and it's fairly easy to pen. But naturally, it's a bit of a hard target to see because there is a little lip on a second cupola, which is more likely to get viewport damage. But yeah, that's the armour of the 452k. Like I say, you don't really want to be trying to side scrape in this vehicle. You just want to be trying to get hull down in it, because this cheek here and this cheek here negates your ability to side scrape. And just be careful of people firing premium straight through this mid plate here. The lower plate is also fairly effectively easy to pen as well. But yeah, that's the armour of the 452k. What do I run in terms of equipment and a commander? Well, I run the food, naturally, because that makes everything better. The advanced loader, the gun stabilizer, and optics. Optics to be able to make my view range as good as possible. The gun stabilizer to make sure this gun can basically keep the gun bloom down, not feel the 2.5 second aim time too badly, and the advanced loader to make sure that the DPM is as good as possible. If you feel like the gun is good enough without the gun stabilizer, you could run the traction system to go at 44 kilometers an hour, although you don't really hit it if you do that. You could run the advanced powertrain to give it that extra oomph in the engine to be able to hit that top speed. You could run vents to make everything about the tank better, or you could run the advanced armor and then run armor angling on your crew and reduce the damage intake of this tank by 10% for every shell hitting it, right? It's down to you and how you feel comfortable playing the tank. There is no real right or wrong way to set up a vehicle. And in terms of a crew, I've got good old Lemmy here, who you can get with the Thunder Chief. And in terms of the crew skills, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Track Mechanics, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Rapid Aim, and Off-Road Driving. Off-Road Driving to knock the ground resistances down on this vehicle to help me get to my top speed. Rapid Aim to make the turret traverse better, because it is very, very slow on the turret traverse, and it annoyed me, so I made it better. The Run and Gun to make the accuracy during movement 10% better, which again knocks down the bloom of your gun while you're moving. Steady Aim to make the general accuracy of the tank 10% better as well. And then these 5 perks you're going to take on every tank in World War II. So let's have a look at the statistics now of the 452k with that fully kitted out vehicle. So we've knocked the ground resistances down to 1.89, 1.42 and 1.2, which is a hell of a lot better. They don't hold it back quite as much in that regard. We've got 499 meters of view range now, which is absolutely glorious. Means we can spot for ourselves really well. We've got a 30.4 degrees a second turret rotation speed, which now means we are faster than the hull traverse, which is good, but only ever so slightly. We've got 0.59 accuracy during rotation, which is damn solid. We've got 10.5 second reload, which is 3.1k, nearly 3.2k DPM, which is quite nice for a heavy tank, especially with high alpha like 560. You've got a 0.31 accuracy during, well, 100 meters, I should say, which is okay. We've got 1.56 accuracy during movement, which is a lot better than it was, knocked down from that 2.7 odd, which means that the gun does, with this as a pair, the gun does not bloom out that much at all. It's nearly always ready to go, which means you do not feel the pain of the 2.5 base and the 2.3 second aim time is what we've got it down to. You don't feel that pain all that much in this 452k. But yeah, that's the 452k. Like I say, I think it's a fairly balanced heavy tank. It's pretty nice. It's good hull down. If caught out in the open, it's fairly easy to take out. It does set on fire quite a bit. You've got to be careful of that. The mobility helps it to get to good locations. And this gun does hit hard. It is a very satisfying gun to use. Bear in mind that if you want to pick up this tank, wait for the community op to finish, pick Motorhead, and you will be able to get 50% discount on this vehicle, which will knock it down to that 12 to 13k range, which is really not that bad for a tier 10 premium. It's still a hell of a lot of money, but it's really not that bad for a tier 10 premium, and you'll be able to get this Thunder Chief, which, yeah, is a nice tank. It is kind of similar to this 780 as well, in the fact that, again, hull down, it's fantastic. The gun hits quite hard. The penetration on it's pretty nice. The gun handling is fairly similar. The mobility is fairly similar. So if you've played a 780, you kind of know what you're going to get from the Thunder Chief as well. Same as if you played the QL, you'll kind of know what you're going to get from it. But as always, everybody, what I'm going to do now is send you into the replays where you can watch this tank in action, see how it handles, see what it feels like to play, and, you know, make your own mind up on the vehicle in general. Oh, the other thing for this tank, by the way, is it does play the Ace of Spades in the garage, so if you do sit and with your cursor over this vehicle, it will play the Ace of Spades. I have garage music turned off because, well, DMCA, you know, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it will play the Ace of Spades, so there is that too. So, as always, everybody, enjoy the replays. So here we are in the replays with the Thunder Chief Object 452k, and we're on the first game, which is Sand River. And on Sand River, what I want to do is go up north to the dunes and go to about D7, because I can try and cut off people across the A line. But I can also, if no one really does go that way, cut onto the A-line, go across the dunes and cut towards their base, stay safe with the sand dunes on my left, and I can go hull down over there as well, use the fantastic turret armor that this vehicle does have, and then just slap out the rounds, because the 560 alpha that this tank has is just so nice. It's such a satisfying gun to use, because when it works and when it hits, whew, oh yeah. The thing is, it does have a tendency to miss shots that you sit there going, did you just miss that? Gun. Did we have to miss that? You know, it does do that. But then it is a Soviet gun, so it's what happens. You can really get a feel for the mobility, by the way. I don't think I was running off-road driving in this game, and this is on soft. You can see how much it's holding us back. We're back at 27 to 30 kilometers an hour. It's a bit of a pain. If we'd knocked the ground resistances down a little bit, we probably wouldn't a little bit better here to get towards our top speed. But we're where we want to be, which is here, because we can get hull down on this little dune. We can try and spot people along there. We can try and get shots at them, and there we go. A Batchat gets a shot straight into our track with track-down penders, but we got a shot into him. 639! Oh yeah! We take those every single day of the week. Thank you, Lemmy. And we unfortunately didn't pen the ISM, but I decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to take a hit or two. We're pushing aggressively. There's only these, like, 3 tanks over here. So, you know what, we're pushing aggressively, get into the next dune, get behind the Murat, move the 3 guys at A8 along, and as you can see, this Batchat, every single shot on the move. He's just no problem going straight through the side armor there, which is pure pain. I thought he might not, you know, it's a Batchat, he might not hit us that many shots on the move. No, I was completely wrong. But here we are, this is where I want to be. I want to try and get up behind the Murat and get some shots in, move the guys on at A8 as quickly as possible, then we can progress down this flank. But the TVP VTU comes after us. And what this guy should have really done is just charged in, flamethrowered us, and tried to pen us with premium. But he doesn't do that, and we put 2 big shots in to shut down that tier 8 Tech Tree medium tank. So we're going to maneuver ourselves now in behind the Murat to get a shot into him, which will hopefully make him either turn around or make our team go, oh, he's a one-shot and push in. There we go, we'll put the shot in. I'm trying to be careful of getting shot by artillery. He ends up splashing us for about 200, and we get the Murat, the Murat gets killed as well. Batchat is in the open, and Batchat armor, am I correct? Oh, come on. It's a 130mm gun with 260 pen, and we ricochet off the Batchat's upper plate, because that's what Batchat armor is like. It's no armor whatsoever, but it's angled at extreme angles at times, and that means that sometimes the Batchat just goes, yeah, you know what? I feel like bouncing your 260 pen AP round. Screw you, buddy. Screw you. And, yeah, we ricocheted. But we did snap the links on the move, so we'll take that. And I'm kind of sad, because I did snap that links on the move to kill it, but if I just wait a split second, I probably could have, if we rolled well enough, killed that Batchat, and I would have probably been better off killing the Batchat than the links. There is a... Is he AFK? I assume that TS-60 was AFK, so we get a big shot through the side of his turret, which actually kills him, gets our 3rd kill of the game. We're up to 3.4k, damage of 288 assistance. We're now just chasing the last 5 members of their team. The Batchat did run away. There's an MBT that's sat at E4, with a heavy tank that's right next to him as well, which is an E100 on 1,000 hit points. So what I want to do is push through their cap, and then get to the dune at F2, push under the gun line of whatever we can see shooting, because you can see shell tracers occasionally firing from behind this big rock. And I want to get under the gun line of it, use the good turret armor there. You just saw the shell tracer there. It's a 114 SP2, and then be able to just put out the big 560 alpha rounds that we have. Plus also, if we get under this dune, there's a high chance that artillery can't actually hit us at the angle we'll be at. So that 114 SP2 ends up taking a rather large hit there for 800. And we're just going to etch ourselves up a little bit on this right-hand side of the dune, because that will give us the little bit extra gun depression that we need to be able to keep putting shots in. I'm like, go on then, shoot me, mate. My turret front is fantastic. You ain't penning this. We actually bait the shot, and there we go. We managed to shut down the 114 SP2 there. The only way that he would have penned that turret is if he'd hit the cupola. But when we're hull down using our gun depression, the cupola is pretty difficult to hit. As you can see, by the way, a 9.7 second reload when you're boosting with food is really good for 560 alpha, and it absolutely slaps. This is what I mean. This gun is just satisfying to use. 560 alpha is a very, very nice alpha to have on a heavy tank, and when you just feel like you're punching people as you're slapping out the rounds. We did finish that game with the cap, so we finished with the 4 kills, 4.3k damage, 288 assistance, the 3rd class, the sniper, with the 1120 base XP. A fairly average game there for the Thunder Chief Object 452k on Sand River there. Just gave you the basic looky-loo at what the tank feels like with the mobility, how the gun handling is. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. You got the nice DPM, the high rolls that can come from it, also some of the low rolls. That's just generally the Thunder Chief, and also how the armor is sometimes as well. So we're on to the second game. We're on Campbellberg, and on Nebelberg. We're on Nebelberg, and we are going to go to F6 in a minute. But what I want to do first is go to this position here at E5 and then progress up, because I can go hold down on this little ledge. Sometimes people just push very aggressively down this little section here, and we can get some free shots, which is what we're going to hopefully get. So we spotted the IS-3, and unfortunately the IS-3 got spotted before he decided to be too aggressive, and that meant that he actually backed off, which, yeah, means we don't get any shots. But you can see we can shoot the people at the back if we wanted to, but we're not ever going to see them, because actually they're just out of render range. If someone does push, like the IS-3, into that section there, we are going to get free shots at them, but when they've realised, like the IS-3 has, that there's quite a few tanks here, they will just sit there. But I don't want to push down that little alleyway, because that is death. Because the reason it's Campbellberg is they will have quite a few people camping, especially with the amount of TDs in this game. They will camp at J2, J3. I will get spotted by the IS-3, and the guys camping J2, J3, which I will have absolutely no reply to whatsoever, will be able to just farm us, and that is not what we want. So we're going to push up this way instead at F6, see if there's anything around the side of this castle, get a shot at this 114 SP2, which I didn't want to risk firing through those boxes, because the amount of times I fired through destructible cover like those boxes, and the armor-piercing round from a 130mm tank shell gun thing, right, hits a box that's 2mm thick and goes, you know what, I'm going to disappear now, and not do anything at all is deeply frustrating. So I didn't want to risk it, which is why I poked out round the box, because I just didn't want the boxes to take the shell. They've started capping, so there's people in the encounter cap, and then I've looked at the map and gone, hey, hang on a minute, everybody's joined me here. So we're just going to do a aggressive push, get a nice RBRT into the M46 pattern, and it's like, hello, Mr. IS-3. How are you doing, sir? I am a tier 10 heavy tank, and you are gone, sir. Good night. Those two pushed quite aggressively, and again, that's what happens if you push through that alleyway aggressively like the M46 and the IS-3 did. You just die, and there's no real way of pushing through that without dying, if we're honest, if there's a decent amount of tanks like on this ledge like where we were, or at C9, because if, you know, the Campbellberg position at C9 that a lot of TDs do like to sit at as well, like we've got 2 TDs sitting there currently, they have perfect overwatch at you as you come through that gap, and also they won't get spotted when they fire at you unless you get even closer, which is sad times. So unfortunately, we didn't get the shot into the projector 66 as the IS-32 beat us to it. The 114 SP2s thought better of poking up with me looking at him. So instead, I'm going to push into the little dip, or again, next to this wall that you can see directly in front of me, because then I can push around to the left and try and get shots at people like the Turan that possibly are there. And I can also push round to the right and try and get shots at the 114 SP2 or anything else that might be down here, like this TNH 105-1000. So we get a big shot into the TNH 105-1000. I didn't expect, to be honest, that the 114 SP2 would just YOLO around and get a shot into us, but he did. And then we end up taking a hit from their base. We make sure we get the next shot into the TNH 105-1000, and the Campbellberg hill over there actually started firing at us. We got pen once and we bounced something else, which made me think possibly Iron Rain, but I'm not 100% sure. So I've got to back off so that I'm just out of render range. Those guys over there can't hit us anymore, and we can stay safe. I mean, I could try and get a shot into the 114 SP2, but he's just keeping himself down on the bottom of that ridgeline. I don't really want to attack that anymore because, well, we know that it's a bit of a dangerous play to do because there's things looking at us. So instead, I'm going to use this little position and poke out and see if we can shoot the guys that are sitting along the K line, but nothing is spotted right now, and no one's really pushing to spot, so my play of doing this is not really going to work out too much. We're just going to have a bit of patience, because at this point in Campbellberg's progression, we can't push too aggressively, because the guys that are camping at J3 will end up seeing us and getting shots at us, and will die before we get there, and the people... and if we tried to push to spot them, there's not really anyone in a position to shoot them anyway, so yeah, we just got to be patient. Which is where this Conqueror comes into play, because it's like, hello, Mr. Conqueror, you're hiding behind this rocks, buddy. He's got to push back at some point. He's got to realise that his position's untenable. He takes a hit. And I'm thinking, surely, he's just taking a hit. He's got to back off. So I'm just going to sit and wait to see if he does. There is a Waffle Panzer IV currently looking at him. And he's the one that just put a shot into this Conqueror. Sadly, the Conqueror ends up shooting down the Waffle Panzer IV. And I think, well, maybe if the Waffle Panzer IV is dead, he's going to back up. And he does. But, oh, we end up ricocheting or just hitting the back end of his tank, which didn't pen, which is a very sad time. But, well, that's it. With that done, we can't really sit there and wait too much. So you know what? We're going to try and blind fire where this TD is. So we see there's a tree down there, and I think, well, maybe he's where the tree's knocked down. Nope, nothing there. Again, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. The Conqueror gets spotted again, so we're going to back up into this little ledge again to see if we can get a shot into the Conqueror, maybe shut him down, put him down to a one-shot, because he's moving out in the open, but the Ho-Ri one ends up finishing off the British Tier 9 heavy tank there. So that's that guy gone. It is 9-6, so I mean the game is still fairly close, but it is starting to snowball now as we are deleting their tanks in the different sections. The Waffle Panzer IV spotted at the back, 625 and a fire. Oh, baby, that's delicious. Waiting on the reload to get rid of this Waffle Panzer IV. He takes a hit, so it's only going to be 135 hit points. But good night, Mr. German Tier 9 TD. There's currently 2 TDs spotted. One at J2 and the one that's down below, which I think is a tier 60 or something like that. So where is the last two? Iron Rain and a Griller. We don't know where they are, so you know what? Because my people have moved up, I've got TDs with me. I'm going to use that 499 meters of view range that I've got, be very aggressive, and try and find the thing that is camping on the hill at the back. That Griller 15 is not the one looking at me currently, and that means that there is definitely still something, which is probably the Iron Rain, up on the ledge at K34, staring at me, trying to get shots at me. So I'm just going to keep moving. I'm going to keep moving so I can try and get a shot into the back end of this Griller and try and cut myself across this distance here so that the other tank that's on the ledge can't shoot us. We get a nice shot snapped in on the move into the Griller 15, which put a big, nice helping of 500 damage into that guy, which is great. I was thinking of going after the Griller, but he's now starting to get pressured by 3 of my guys, and it would be kind of awkward. We are detected, which means there is still something looking at us, and there it is. It's the Iron Rain. We try and get a shot on the move, but, well, the Iron Rain ends up moving out of the way, so we can't get a shot into him. He also gets smacked by something behind us as well, which gives us a little bit of juicy assistance, which is what I was hoping to do in the first place. I was hoping to make this push, spot the things that are camping on the ledge, and therefore my friends would shoot them and I'd get assistance, but it's not quite, well, it has worked out a little bit like that. We've got 1,531 assistance, which is not anything to be really sniffed at. So we're going to push towards the Iron Rain because there's only 2 tanks left. We've got HE loaded, but we're realistically probably not going to need that because he has taken 2 hits, which means he'll be down to a level that we could have just killed him with the AP. Aiming the shot in. Good night, Mr. Iron Rain. And we finish off the German Tier 8 Premium Tank Destroyer. And there is the last tank on the live on the team. Oh, the enemy team, I should say. It's the T114 Battalion. Just hoping he'll sit still. There we go. 641! Juicy! We take those damage rolls every day of the week. Oh, that's what I mean. This gun is so satisfying when it slugs. It's an absolute slugger of a vehicle that, yeah, when the shells roll out, ooh, it's quite nice. So there's no point chasing after this T114 Battalion. If he decides to come out around the rock, we're in the perfect position to get a shot into him. If, well, you know, we don't move then and he doesn't come out, then what, you know, what's lost really? But he did end up driving out in front of us, giving us the free kill there, and we finished with the victory. Second on the team with 4 kills, 5,513 damage, 1,531 assistance, so that's what, 7k combined. The High Caliber, the second class, with 1,399 base XP. A fairly decent game there for the Thunder Chief on Campbellberg. And again, show what the tank's good for. The armor doesn't really hold up that much, if I'm honest, unless you are hull down. If you are not hull down, the armor will struggle. But the gun slaps very, very hard. It's pretty consistent in that way. And the mobility is not too bad as well, having that 40 km/h top speed. You just need to keep putting yourselves in positions to use the really nice alpha this vehicle has. Like I said, the playstyle of it is fairly similar to the Object 780. It's just that you're not quite as quick as that vehicle. Or very similar to the Cheelin. If you play the Cheelin, the QL, you'll know what that is like. So we're on to the third replay. In this third replay, we are on this map, which is El Alamein. And on El Alamein, I'm going to go to F5. Because I can go to F5. I can shoot maybe things that are in the middle of the map at that position. I can try and get some free shots into people that are crossing the JK, because a lot of people do generally cross the JK. And we can slap out the big 560 alpha rounds that this vehicle has. We can also spot people that are crossing that JK, because with having 499 meters view range, we've got a good amount of view range to be able to spot those guys. So we see this Rheinmetall Panzerwagen in the middle. I'm thinking, you know what, Mr. Panzerwagen, I want you, bro. I don't want you to be... He's pushed aggressively. See where he is? We are going to punish him for that, because it's a very aggressive play to make in that German tier 10 light tank. And if we get rid of him, then he's the thing that could have been spotting us and stuff like that. So, hello, Mr. Panzerwagen. We get very lucky that that shell hit, because that was very poorly aimed. But we'll take that. We'll take that. 568 damage. So, we've put a big slugger into him. Now, we're going to move back into the position that we wanted to originally be in, which is get into the position to shoot the guys that cross the JK, which most of them have, but if there's anyone out in the open, we'll get a free shot. And that's where we find a Griller in a very unorthodox position. Put a shot into him for 616, which is nice. He's going to get away before we manage to get the reload in, though. I'm thinking, maybe, you know what? There's not really much spotted on that back TD ridge. So we're just going to push in and try and get rid of the Panzerwagen, because the Panzerwagen is going to be the guy that's spotting some of our team that are sitting at J3, J4. And, you know, as we go, we work for the team, so we want to try and get rid of him, because he's whittling our team down and spotting them. But the Griller 15 ends up driving out in the open for us to get a free shot, so we're not going to turn the chance to kill a tier 10 German tank destroyer there. We're not going to turn that down whatsoever. Now the Panzerwagen's running away. We get a shot into him for 516 damage. And I really want to get rid of this guy, because get rid of this light tank would be great. But he gets shut down by the Yagi Yaga. Now there's a 140 out in the open. Oh, 900. That was a Tyran that was next to me that fired heat there. Big hit for 960. And then we just go, well, okay then, I'll take that and shut down the 140. And that's what we did. We shut down the Soviet tier 10 medium tank there with a big shell. Now again, that's where having this 560 Alpha is nice. It just slugs. It's like I say, it is satisfying. It is very, very satisfying in regards to the gun and how it feels. So we've looked at the map and we've decided, oh, the base is there's a bit of a problem with the base right now. We need to get back there. We need to try and help defend the base if we can. We can use this ridgeline to try and stay hull down and shoot people like the Tyran that's on the right up here on this ledge. But also we can try and shoot the heavy tanks maybe that are on the left. And we find a Type 5 heavy, which I'm firing AP. That was never going in. I thought maybe the Type 5 heavy could have been firing AP from the 140mm gun, especially since the big 15cm has been nerfed and the 140 has now been buffed quite well. But he's firing HE. Thankfully, he actually hit the gun, so he did no damage. And our first heat shell downrange towards that Type 5 Heavy just did not go where we wanted to and ended up destroying the building, which did destroy some of the cover that he could have been using. Now going for that mid plate, and sadly, the shell dipped and hit his upper plate. Or should I say his extremely angled mid plate, really. It wasn't really a mid plate, but that mid plate on the upper plate, we actually hit the extremely angled section, which means it bounced. We go for the cheek, and it just goes low again. We had the whole cheek. The aim circle was mostly the cheek, but it went low and hit the little section where the tracks is, which means we didn't pen. Go for the lower plate this time. Kinder Bueno, straight into the lower plate. We take those. 544. Cool. I don't really want to stick around in front of the gun of the Type 5 too long, because naturally he's firing HE, which means he's just going to do 500, 600 damage to us. So there's no reply to that. So we're now going to go and try and get shots into the cupola of the other Type 5 Heavy here, which we are firing heat, so we should be able to go through this. But sadly, the shots just aren't, they're just not going where we want them to go. It's just not playing ball with the cupola shots here. So we're going to aim, make sure, there we go, 495. I feel like a guy might be lowering the amount of damage he's taking. We're up to 4.1k damage. The 780's been cheeky and got a free shot into us. I feel like if I try and get a shot into this Type 5 Heavy, he's going to do it again. But oh well, we'll try and get a shot into the Type 5. And that one, we're trying to get a slim shot into the side of his turret, but that one just hits the terrain, which is sad. But we now know that the Foch 155 is going in on that object. Object 780, sorry, which means I know I'm safe from that guy as he goes and kills him. So we're just going to keep slinging these heat rounds into the poor Type 5 Heavy. 478. I feel like he's definitely running advanced armor or armor angling, one of the two, or both, because the amount of rolls, low rolls we're getting on that guy is quite low. It's quite high, I should say. We're getting quite a lot of those, and whatever. English is hard sometimes. But yeah, we're up to 5.1k damage with 1,002 assistance, and there's one tank left on the enemy team. It is a German tier 9 tank destroyer, which is the Jagdtiger. And the Jagdtiger is either going to be behind the rocks at B9 or C9, or he's going to be somewhere in their base. And in fact, there he is. Hello, Mr. Yagi Yaga. I'm going to come after your back end and try and get some juicy, juicy penetrations, because that would be very, very nice. And the E5 has actually managed to track him, which is probably going to be good night for that Jagdtiger, because he's actually perma-tracking him, which means we've just fed him some lovely assistance with that nice roll there. But the Foch 15555 is here with his 120mm gun, and he just machine guns him and finishes off the Jagdtiger there, and finished the game with a pretty damn nice total again for the 452k, 2 kills, 5.7k damage, 1002 assistance, the second class with 1371 base XP. Again, a fairly decent game there for the old Thunder Chief on El Alamein. Once again, showing it off. The gun handling sometimes, it feels like you could have just hit that for me, game. But no. You know, it's what it does. But when it slaps, oh boy, it slaps. So, we're now on the fourth and final replay. And again, that's where the gun likes to say, you know what, I could do, but no. We RBRT'd onto the T62A, and it just landed nowhere near him, and that meant that we had to wait for the reload to shut down the T62A and help out our 430U here. But we're on Live Oaks, and yeah, my Xbox decided to do the recording thing, so I had to quickly plug in the capture card, which is why it started out. This replay started so late in, but we hadn't done anything at that point anyway. Now we are in Live Oaks. We've taken the dip. If you're playing Live Oaks, dip or die. If you do not take this dip, especially from our spawn, you're probably going to lose, because you will get surrounded, caught in a massive crossfire, and it's not going to go very well. So we've taken the dip with the 430U, given him the support that he needed, and, well, there's not much over here, to be honest, anyway, but we are trying our best to see what we can do. Unfortunately, we didn't pen the E4 there as he came over, or when he was tracked sideways on. I thought that was going to be a guaranteed pen, but, well, clearly not. We're getting shot by what I assume is the Primo Victoria from the back that we're just not spotting. And he's actually penning us no problem in the side there. Again, he went straight through the side cheeks. The other thing I did forget to mention with the 452k's armor model is that the flaps on the side of this tank is that if people are shooting up at you and they shoot the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the tank where the tracks are, in the little flappy section, they can actually overmatch that. It's only 30mm of thickness, which means that, yeah, people with 91mm caliber guns can actually go through that. So if you catch weird shots, that's probably why, especially if they're shooting slightly up into you, and you won't find the penetration marker. It's a little bit awkward. I should have shown that in the Tanks GG bit, but I forgot because I'm an idiot. But it is what it is. So we've won this flank. We've only done about 1200 damage. 619. Oh, it's nice. It's so nice. So yeah, we have won the flank on Live Oaks, which is always going to go well for you. There's two things you can do, which is push directly to this ridgeline in front of me. Get to that, you'll get hulled down, you'll be able to spot the people in their spawn, and you'll be able to spot the people that camp on their hill at E2 as well. Try and get shots at them, or you can just push back towards your base and go defend it in that way. So we've cut out this Carnarvon Action 10, so we put a big shot into the Carnarvon Action 10 there, putting him down to a one-shot. We're on 2.4k damage of 628 assistance. There's a Rogel Dawn and this SU-130PM. Now, I couldn't quite remember where the SU was, so I ended up shooting one of the buildings, but yeah, I was hoping to possibly spot it. That Rogel Dawn behind that building is going to be a bit of a pain because, yeah, well, he hits hard, and if people get caught out by it, that thing can shred your hit points in the blink of an eye, which is never a good thing. But he's actually behind non-destructible cover, so he's behind the perfect kind of cover at this point, where I'm not going to be able to get at him. That SU is somewhere over there, so I'm popping blind shots to see if he's in the bushes, but no bueno, no Kinder Bueno for us. We are not hitting that guy. So you know what? It's not working. The position we're in at the minute is not working. There's no point just sitting here. We're going to go change the position in and try and get a better angle on this ridgeline. Maybe get a shot into the Prima Victoria here, which we have. Try and spot anything again that's on that hill, like the Kunterpanzer, or like we just spot the Sheridan there. We actually have shots into the middle of the houses as well, so we get a shot through the turret there of the Death Star 528, which was totally unexpected. I didn't quite expect to find that shot there into that guy, but we'll take every shot we can get, which is good. And we're just feathering out what we want to do, because I want to get in a position to get shots into the Rogel Dawn, because the Rogel Dawn's going to cause problems for my team. But if I can get towards this ridgeline in front of us at, well, near where that guy's pinged at E2, I should be able to get shots at the Rogel Dawn, and I should be able to get safe from the Death Star and the 277 and try and look for shots into those guys as well. So at this point I'm thinking, is that Rogel Dawn looking at me, or is the 430U behind him? I just can't work out from where he's looking. In fact, he looks like he was looking at us, which would have made it very, very awkward for us to pen. But again, we get detected, which makes me go, no, I don't want to do this. I need to get to that ridgeline. But we're going to see if we can get any shot into this Rogel Dawn again, because he's actually murdering everyone. everyone that's pushed that Rogel Dawn is dying, which is very awkward for our team, and we do not want a Rogel Dawn at our back end, because that is not going to be good for us. In fact, he's just killed the KV-4 now. But he is a one-shot, so we aim up the shot, put the shot through his side, and good night, Mr. Rogel Dawn. We're up to 4k damage with 3 kills, 1485 assistance, and there's only 4 tanks left on the enemy team. There's some big tanks in the Death Star, which could be curtains very, very quickly, but we just need to make sure. The Sheridan has no problem going through us there. We got a Shellington for 578, but he just snapped the shot straight through our lower plate. And yeah, that was a bit of a pain. Now there's the Kunzerpanzer, who also does exactly the same thing. He went straight through the lower plate, no problem. The Death Star hits us as well, which means we are very lucky to be alive, because that could have gone quite badly. If he was firing AP, we'd have been dead. But he was firing Hesh, so luckily he only splashed us, and we are still alive with 197 hit points. We're just watching to see what this Sheridan does, hoping the Sheridan will drive out. And what I'm waiting for now is to get detected. So I am spotted currently. My sixth sense has gone off, but I am waiting for my detector to go off. If the detector goes off, I know that that Sheridan is probably looking at me, and I'm going to blind fire. But we get unspotted, and the Sheridan's actually moved away into the other spot. So, you know what? We're going to move up to the building directly in front of us. There's no Death Star anymore, and try and pressure the Kunzerpanzer. And if the Sheridan decides to give us a free shot, we're going to take it. And in fact, that's exactly what happens. Good night, Mr. Sheridan. Our 4th kill of the game for 5.5k damage. The Kunzerpanzer only tractors. And now we're going to, because we don't have the hit points to chat. He has very good DPM, so there's a likelihood he's already reloaded. I didn't want to chance it yet, so I was going to side scrape it. But his hesitancy means that I poke over, use my gun depression and my turret armor, and finish off the Kunzerpanzer there with the really nice 560 Alpha that we have, even though it was only like 100 odd damage, but whatever. We finished with the victory, 5 kills, 5.7k damage, nearly 1500 assistance, again 7k odd combined. The second class, the high caliber, for 1590 base XP. A pretty damn nice game there for the Thunder Chief Object 452k. Like I say, if you want this tank, wait for the community op to finish and get that 50% discount if you pick Motorhead. And that way you'll get this tank for about 12 to 13,000 gold in that region, which is a hell of a lot better for a tier 10 premium than the 25,000 gold it is currently selling for. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!